Welcome to our second class on studying the Bhagavad Gita. Here is the 21-day yoga challenge studying the Bhagavad Gita, and on the picture you can see the two armies on the two sides and the two main characters. Krishna is standing and Arjuna is kneeling in front of him, asking him to teach him. Here are the two characters once again, Krishna and Arjuna. I think it's good to get used to the visuals and also the names, because there are lots of names. So the more we repeat them, the more we understand and can understand them and can bring in a visual. Who are we talking about at that particular time? So again, Krishna and Arjuna, close view. And this is Bhishma, who is kind of like a grandfather figure in the story. And we learned about that his mom died and his dad wanted to remarry. And he remarried to Satyavati, but Satyavati's father only let her marry to the king if her descendants, her sons, gonna inherit the throne. So because of that, Bhishma took a great vow not to get married. And because of that, he also called the one with the terrible vow. And two princes were born but died in a battle before they were able to produce an heir. And the princesses had the opportunity to spend the night with Vyasa, who actually wrote the Mahabharata or dictated the Mahabharata to Ganesha. So the two sons who were born were Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra was born blind, and Pandu had kind of a pale skin. And these two are going to form the two armies. These two families gonna end up on the opposite side from each other. Dhritarashtra's family called the Kauravas, and Pandu's family called the Pandavas. So this is where we left off the story yesterday. And what happens next is when the princess reaches adulthood, it was time for them to become a king. And the older brother, Dhritarashtra, decided to give up his right for the throne because he was born blind. So the younger prince, Pandu, was coronated instead. Pandu turned out to be a great king. He expanded the empire and earned the love of his people. But once again, challenges come, and Pandu got cursed. How he was cursed, it's another long story. We don't have time to go into it right now, but just what happened, he got cursed, and the curse prevented him to touch his wives. Because if he touches his wife, he would instantly die. So to have more space and avoid accidental contact with the wives, he left the palace with his two wives and went to live in the forest. And in his absence, Dhritarashtra acted as a king. So here they are, Pandu with his two wives, Kunti and Madri, in the forest, just listening a sage giving a lecture, hanging out in the forest. So one sunny afternoon, as they were sitting under the tree, just the three of them, and record about their life in the palace, A shadow of sadness fell upon them. The burden of childlessness, the consequence of the curse upon Pandu weighed heavily on them. And yet, a glimmer of hope appeared when Kunti, one of Pandu's wife, recalled a forgotten blessing that she received from a sage called Durvasa. A powerful mantra, it was a powerful mantra that was given to her, and by chanting this mantra she could summon any of the gods and mother a child. So hope resurfaced, and Pandu encouraged Kunti to use the mantra to fulfill their yearning to have a child. So Kunti went to a secluded spot in the forest and chanted the sacred mantra, and with determined focus she called upon Dharma. Once again this word, the embodiment of righteousness. And 9 months later, a radiant child, Yudhishthira, known for his unwavering resolve, entered into the world. So, but the picture is presenting the god of Dharma here, and the god of Dharma is the same god as the god of death, Yama, which both are like connected with timing and the right action, and Dharma is the fulfillment of one's individual cosmic duty, and death is also a fulfillment of a big task, if you would want to see that way. It's very interesting. I found it very interesting that the god of death and the god of righteousness, basically, it's the same god in the same visual, if you wish. So Yudhishthira, the first son of Pandu, his name means the one who is steady in conflict. So if we reflect on his name in the light of the yogic wisdom, we know that when we come to steadiness, we can respond more skillfully. So this is one of the main goal in our spiritual practice, to be able not to react but respond. So become steady and we can respond more skillfully. So Yudhishthira, who is the god of Dharma, is reminding us that this is possible. It is inside of us. We can do it. And yes, so we can do it, as period. Yudhishthira also inherited the wisdom of the way, knowing the right action to take, which is Dharma, to maintain order of the universe, a right action to take to support the smooth rotation of the wheel of natural law. Yudhishthira represents the power of our conscience. Our conscience deep down always knows the right action. What that we need to take. It might not be the most comfortable or easiest action. So sometimes we claim not to know it because it's uncomfortable, but he's here to remind us that deep intuitive wisdom that is inside of us, but we have to be steady and also courageous to listen. So this is the first son of Pandu, fathered by the god of Dharma. Overjoyed with his bathing, Pandu yearned for more. And Kunti, aware of the mantra's potential for 3 more invocations, now climbed up on the top of the highest mountain, and it was very windy, and she decided to summon Vayu, the swift god of the wind. Bhima, a son infused with immense strength, was born after 9 months. So Bhima, being the son of Vayu, the wind, is mighty powerful, just like the desert wind in February for those of us who lived in the high desert. He is also known as the strongest man in the world. So now we as humans are also the sons and daughters of the wind, in the sense that the movement of our breath consists of air, and it is most powerful because through the breath we receive and renew our life force. So we could view Bhima as representing this powerful life force that if we harness fully, anything is possible, and we could be just as powerful as Bhima. Take a breath, inhale. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Can you feel that? I think something's changed. So blessed with 2 sons, Pandu desired 1 more. Kunti, ever the devoted wife, heeded his call. This time she summoned Indra, the king of heavens, and Arjuna, the shining example of purity, who was destined to become the world's greatest archer, graced the world with his presence. So as you can see it on the picture on the right, Indra is more powerful. I mean, not more powerful, just more forceful, what I'm trying to say. Indra, the king of gods, he needs to maintain the order up there, and sometimes he gets into wars, and he also controls the weather, so he controls thunder, storm, rain, and the river flows. So he is a kind of a warrior god, if you wish. And Arjuna, who is on the left, he's his son and the greatest archer. So he's one of our main character. So I have another slide about him. He represents pure-heartedness. His name literally means white and clear. And he's also called the one who is pure in action. Represents the power of purity that is there when we do something wholeheartedly. So he is the son of Indra again, who is the chief of the Devas, the gods, and also the god of the thunderbolt, who brings rain, as well as the great conqueror of anti-gods. So witnessing in the forest, witnessing her sister's fortune, having these 3 beautiful boys, Madri's heart, the other wives, ached with the yearning for motherhood. So Kunti, with empathy and sisterly love, shared the powerful mantra, granting Madri the chance to fulfill her desire to become a mother. Well, Madri was very, very bright and very resourceful, so she summoned the celestial physician twins, the Ashwinis, who are twin gods associated with medicine, health, dawn, and sciences. They are described as useful divine twin horsemen, whose horses are never weary and portrayed as guardian deities that safeguard and rescue people by aiding them in various situations. They are most knowledgeable doctors and know all about how to heal any illness. So Kunti, the wife, the second wife, blessed with this double divine intervention, gave birth to these handsome twins, Nakula and Sahadeva. Not Kunti, but Madri. Sorry. So the second wife, Madri, gave birth to Nakula and Sahadeva. And the picture is about, again, the Ashwini twins. It's extremely hard to find pictures from the Mahabharata. So the Ashwini twins are gods. It was easier to find the Ashwini twins than Nakula and Sahadeva. It's quite a challenge. But here are the fathers of Nakula and Sahadeva. Now, very interestingly, Nakula means mongoose, the animal mongoose. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say with my accent here. And the mongoose can protect itself from the snake venom with the sap of the Nakula plant. Hence, its name is Nakulan. The mongoose name is Nakulan because it's able to protect itself from the snake venom because of this plant, the Nakula. So Nakulan represents our innate capacity to stay safe, to protect ourselves from any harmful situation in our worldly existence, and instead healthily engage with the world. So the sun, Nakulan, is encouraging us to connect with this innate capacity of ours to be able to connect ourselves from any harmful situation in our worldly existence and instead engage with the world healthily. Now the other twin, Sahadeva, represents the power of self-reflective awareness. And this is a very important practice in yoga, to have this self-reflective awareness. When we notice doing things, hear ourselves and feel ourselves, we can learn quickly what is conductive to moving us forward towards freedom and ease, towards living in harmony with the universe, or not, what is not, right? Cultivate self-awareness is another very important component in yoga. So Sahadeva represents that, the power of self-reflective awareness. So together, the 5 Pandava brothers thrived in the lush forest, forging unbreakable bond amidst the serene whispers of nature and the wisdom of the residing sages. So here they are, the 5 brothers and the 2 wives. Back inside the grand palace, King Dhritarashtra, the blind king, who had no children, turned into black magic. They tried everything else, nothing worked. They wanted children, so they turned into black magic. Creepy sorcerers, I somehow lost my text, but I'm gonna tell you about these sorcerers, creepy sorcerers with shiny black eyes chanted under the stormy sky. Can you imagine? And there was a tiny bit of hope when the queen got pregnant, but it wasn't a normal pregnancy. It lasted for 20 long and painful months. And when her labor pains were started, they were like terrible storm. The sky turned dark and rained down disgusting creatures. Quite a scary sign. The people in the palace were scared and wanted Dhritarashtra to kill the cursed baby. But this clever dark magician had a strange plan. He told the king that the queen wouldn't have a normal baby, but a big pulsating mass of flesh. She's gonna give birth to a big pulsating mass of flesh. Can you imagine? And this scary mass would be cut up into 99 pieces and put into 99 jars. And in 9 months, 98 boys gonna be born and 1 girl. So they did that. And sure enough, it all happened as the black magician predicted. And 98 princes and 1 princess emerged, each inheriting a sliver of their unnatural origin, as you can imagine. They were raised in luxury, and they became quite arrogant and entitled, oblivious to the darkness that shimmered beneath their privileged life. The oldest, named Duryodhana, the evil-minded. Duryodhana also means impossible to defeat. He was supposed to do great things, but may also cause a lot of trouble. So in the Bhagavad Gita, they call Duryodhana the evil-minded Durbuddhi, but his name is also translates as impossible to defeat. Meanwhile, back in the forest, tragedy struck, and Pandu accidentally touched his second wife, Madri, which triggered the curse and ended Pandu's life. Madri, unable to cope with the loss of her husband, chose to follow him in death, sacrificing herself on his funeral pyre. So left alone with the 5 children, Kunti decides to return to the royal court, and Dhritarashtra, the blind king, welcomed his brother's sons warmly first. Their presence brought joy and positive energy to the palace, as you can imagine, because they were all sons of gods. The Pandava brothers were kind and graceful, the absolute opposite of Dhritarashtra's son, who were very entitled. And Duryodhana, the king's eldest son, felt threatened by his cousin's talents. Bhima was stronger, Arjuna was the best archer, Yudhishthira was most skilled chariot driver, and the twins, they excelled in various skills, surpassing Duryodhana and his brothers. So this growing envy fueled Duryodhana's scheme, and he developed numerous plots to eliminate the Pandavas. You can see one on the picture when he tries to burn down, Duryodhana tries to burn down a house that the Pandavas were staying in. Duryodhana invited them to stay in that house, but they miraculously escaped. So you can see them here escaping. So he wasn't successful in his plotting. In the palace, Dhritarashtra, the blind king, recognized the Pandavas' rightful claim to part of the kingdom established by their father Pandu, and told his sons that it would be best to share the kingdom. However, arrogant Duryodhana, the firstborn, was opposed to sharing his inheritance. Eventually, a compromise was reached, and Duryodhana received the main kingdom. Dhritarashtra's oldest son received the main kingdom, while the Pandavas were offered a barren desert region. So they went off to live on this desert land, but because they were living in harmony, the desert started to flourish. So despite the desolate landscape first, the eldest Pandava brother, Yudhishthira, who is the son of Dharma, therefore known for his righteousness, transformed the desert into a flourishing oasis. So this transformation is reflected in a core Indian belief that harmony fosters prosperity, while discord leads to decline. So they lived in harmony, and it fostered prosperity for them, and this showed up on the physical reality too. With their newfound prosperity, the Pandavas constructed a magnificent palace and graciously invited the Kaurava cousins for a visit. Well, as you can imagine, Duryodhana didn't change much, so he was consumed by envy at the palace's splendor and formulated yet another plot against the Pandavas. This is a very interesting part of the story, once again. Exploiting a social custom where the king's invitation to play dice couldn't be refused, Duryodhana lured the Pandavas into a rigged game of dice. Of course, the Pandavas didn't know that the game is rigged, but Duryodhana hired a most skilled gambler, Sakuni, to play for them. So every time when they played dice, Sakuni cheated, playing for Duryodhana, and won. So the Pandavas slowly lost all their wealth and ended up having to raise the stakes of the game. So eventually, Yudhishthira, the oldest brother, he ended up wagering his brothers and himself as well into servitude. He even lost his wife, Draupadi, in this deceitful contest, and you can see it on the picture. Her Draupadi is at the bottom of the picture, and they even trying to take her sari off, but she was related to Krishna, and she prayed for Krishna to protect her, and they poured and poured the sari, and the sari never ended, so they weren't able to undress her. Krishna in action, right? But this act of humiliation sparked outrage within the court, forcing Dhritarashtra to intervene, the blind king to intervene, and he ordered Duryodhana to return everything. However, Duryodhana proposed the final gamble. He said, let's do this. The winner would regain everything, while the loser would face a 13-year exile, 12 years in the wilderness and 1 year living incognito. And if the person discovered during incognito year, the exile would restart. Well, once again, Duryodhana cheated and Yudhishthira lost. So they lost everything and they had to go into exile once again. So this marked a turning point, forcing the Pandavas to seek alliances and prepare for the inevitable. That they have to go into battle with with the Kauravas. So here they are, they're going to exile, which was hard on them first, but from their past wilderness experience, they gradually adapted, reconnecting with the nature and finding inner peace. And also gained some advantages because they were around sages. So Bhima developed more patience, and Yudhishthira wisdom deepened, and Arjuna embarked an extraordinary adventure, aiding his celestial father Indra in a cosmic war. Remember, his dad was kind of like the war god as well, along with the king of gods. So in this cosmic war, he gained weapons crucial for the future conflict foreshadowed in the Bhagavad Gita. Meanwhile, the Pandava brothers were in exile. Duryodhana made many allies as well, preparing to get ready in case the brothers fulfilled the requirements and returned. Sorry, we're running over a little bit. We're almost done. So here we go. They returned after 13 years and asked Duryodhana to keep the agreement, his side of the agreement. But Duryodhana arrogantly replied and stated that he's not even going to give up a pin size of land for the Pandavas. So with that, all hope perished for reconciliation, and efforts for peaceful resolution were undertaken by various parties, still including Krishna, but nothing worked. So with war on the horizon, both sides gathered giant armies, and Krishna was a legendary ruler with an undefeated army, so they both went to see his support. And here is Krishna laying on the bed, and one side is Arjuna, and the other side is Duryodhana asking for his support. And we are going to stop here. So this was the story for today, and we're gonna continue from here tomorrow.